welcome to this week's program. Danny Daniels along with David Johnson, and little misty eye this week as our producer, director, engineer, camera person, Raquel. What you talking about, Willis?
Oh,
this is her last show. She's moving on. You've done a good job. We appreciate it. It's been fun. Anyway, football. We missed on our two picks last week.
Yeah, they didn't turn out too well there, but try to get some home team some support there. But yeah, Monroe and Social Circle still looking for those first wins of the season, and they're going to be. I think Monroe of the two still has the better chance of finishing out strong. Social Circle still has an outside shot, maybe their last game, but we'll see. Hopefully, they can at least pick up a win before the year's up.
We'll talk about those in a minute. George Walton's going to be at home this week, and their last chance probably to stay alive in the playoffs.
Yeah, they're coming in this week after last week's win over a team that was, of course, well, to set this up, I guess, Class A, of course, and divides public and private. Regions don't really matter. What matters is finishing among the top 16 in the power rating system that they have set up for those teams. And right now, George Walton's kind of been lingering around in the 20s. They moved up to 19 this week after last week's win over Hebron. And now they're really, even if they win out, they may not make it, but they've got to win out to have any chance at all. Commerce, of course, is a public school. I think they're a 7 or 8 on their side. So a win over them would be nice, and that would certainly help. But it's going to be tough. GWA's got to win out here to even have a chance, or else they're going to miss the playoffs for the second straight year, which is really, them missing the playoffs at all is almost unheard of over there, and particularly 2 years in a row. So, but they're a young team. They're struggling. They've been without their best player, Demetrius Mason, who's been fighting injuries all year, so that hasn't helped. And Commerce, after struggling for a few years, seems to be Commerce again and really playing well. So it's going to be a tough one for Bulldogs this week.
David, you're in touch with everything, or most things going on over there. Why the down cycle?
Well, they just lost a lot of folks. They lost a lot of seniors. They lost Stanley Williams, who's you just click on and look at Kentucky nowadays, and you can see him doing pretty well, up on the college level right now. And you don't lose a guy like that without falling off. And a combination of losing him, along with a lot of his players that backed him up, that a lot of guys who would have seen a lot more playing time had he not been there, and now they're not there either. So they just really were hurt for whatever reason. Their numbers are way down. They're down around, I think, 30 total players. So, they're just really, just like a lot of teams, it's just one of those years where they're really struggling. And hopefully, they've got a good JV team coming up, some good kids still in the program that are going to move up next year maybe. Another thing is they're, of course, transitioning to a new offense this year, the wing team, and that, of course, takes some time as well. But, hopefully these past couple of years have just been a brief downtime, and they'll turn things around and kind of get back on the upswing after this.
Matt Reynolds has done a really good job with their middle school team, and I've seen them play 2 or 3 times this season. I think George Walton may be 2 years away from getting back to where they used to be.
Yeah, that's probably fair. Yeah, because they've just got a lot of young kids, and they got some really good skilled players in the program. It's just going to take time, but 2 years that may not be a bad prediction.
All right, Loganville is going to be at Gainesville. You wrote in your preview this week in the Walton Tribune about that 46-41 win at Gainesville 2 or 3 years ago. So it can be done. Whether it's too little, too late, that may be the problem.
No, it's definitely too little, too late. They're out of the playoffs. There's no. You look at the numbers. There's no possible way they can, even if they end up, Wanderberg loses their next 2 and Loganville wins their next 2, they still lose the tiebreaker. So the Red Devils, unfortunately, for the 5th straight year, are going to be on the outside looking in come playoff time. But same situation a couple years ago when they went up there to Gainesville. Nobody gave them a chance. I don't even think the players thought they had a chance, certainly. And at halftime, everybody figured that things were kind of going like they were supposed to. They were down by 21 points. And then, for whatever reason, and I've never really gotten a whole lot out of the players, they just said it was very quiet. None of the coaches said anything. None of the players, they just kind of all sat there for about 10 or 20 minutes. during halftime and didn't say a word and went back out, and Gainesville basically self-destructed with turnover after turnover and penalties, and Loganville got back into it, started believing, and I guess you give a team some hope. And that's what happened. Now, whether lightning can strike twice in that same place, I wouldn't lay any money on it, but I certainly wouldn't put any money on it a couple of years ago either. So you never know.
Quiet bus sounds like anybody's bus ride to Buford nowadays.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. You're just kind of like going to your own funeral, I guess. So, yeah.
All right, Monroe's going to be at home against White County. Another good chance for the Canes to win one.
Yeah, White County is much improved. They're a good program. They're a little down this year. I thought Monroe would win last week. They certainly had their chances, and it was just more pain for what's been a painful season. A last-second field goal beats them, and that's really got a sting. But this they're scoring points. They're really come around. They started moving the ball defensively. They're still not where they need to be. This team is. I cannot see this team going 0-10. I really can't. I just feel like somewhere along the line they're going to get a win. They've really improved a good bit. So hopefully, for the kids' sake, this will be the win.
Really fun to watch this Monroe offense, especially Jacob Olson to Alfred King. They hooked up, I think, 8 or 9 times last week. I gave Jacob 300 yards passing, but officially their statistician had him at 388, so we apologize for that. But he's really got a strong arm. Monroe area is going to be against White County. Really a heartbreaker. I was there against North Hall last week, and it looked like a win, especially the way that game started out. It was 14-0 before Monroe fans even got in their seats, but that second field goal just really broke their hearts.
Yeah, and that's just piling on. It seems like this season, the way this season's going, it's just you don't want to lose that way. They were so close. But again, this team, they obviously are improved. They're scoring points now. Defensively, they're still not where they need to be, but they are, they're scoring points. So you got to feel like the way they've improved, I can't imagine this team going 0-10 this year. I just can't see that. They're going to pick up at least a win somewhere, and why not this week?
I think Alfred King's a college receiver. In the newspaper, we gave Jacob Olson 300 yards passing. Officially, their statistician had him with 388, so we apologize for that. You like Jacob on the baseball field?
Yeah, that's where his future is. I mean, him and Alfred he's found his favorite receiver against Buford. In the last couple minutes of that game, they hooked up for a couple of touchdowns. He's found his guy. And clearly he's got the arm. You go out and watch him play baseball, and he's got a rocket on there. And it's taken a while for that to translate over into football. Unfortunately now it's late in his senior year, but he's got an arm. He's need to work on his accuracy, and that's gotten better. So he's shown he can play football, but obviously I think his future is going to be on the baseball diamond.
I think they had him with 19 completions against North Hall, and that's pretty good, nice work. So, Social Circle's going to be at Greene County. Redskins missed an opportunity last week.
Yeah, I thought that was it. I thought I was actually going to get to witness a little bit of history for them, and that was just heartbreaking for them. I mean, as the reporters and covering the game, we try not to care, but this one was tough. It was hard to watch. They fought hard. That second half, they looked really good.
Social Circle's going to be on the road on Friday night at Greene County. Really thought the Redskins had one in the bag last week, but another heartbreaker.
Yeah, that was tough to watch. I wanted to go down there and cover that one just because I thought I was going to get to see the state's longest losing streak finally come to an end. And they were right there. They kind of struggled in the first half, came out a totally different team. That second half looked better than they had all year. 3 really good drives offensively. Fumble into the first one, a missed field goal, and then finally they broke through and tied the game there at the end to send it to overtime. But as Coach Estes said, that in overtime they just seemed to run out of gas. They came down, got on about the 4-yard line. They were going to punch it in, and then they couldn't get it. Had to settle for a field goal, and then Oglethorpe came back and just took them 2 plays, scored a touchdown, and it was over. And it was hard to watch. What hurt me the most was watching Blake Brock, their quarterback. And I don't think the kid came off the field the whole game. He played offense, defense, and just had nothing left. And just took a pounding the whole game. and just I saw him limp off the field, basically almost crawl off the field a few times, and just come back in with the gutsiest, toughest kid you'd ever want to see. And for somebody like that to have to lose another one, I know he's just a sophomore and he's still got some time, but just really hurt for him. I don't see him necessarily ending the streak this week at Greene County. Greene's a good team, and they're still fighting for playoff positioning, so that's probably not going to happen. The last game coming up next week against Riverside Military, back at home, senior night. You never know. We'll see.
All right, Loganville Christian's going to be over in Barra County to take on Bethlehem, and the Lions going to be the only playoff team, it appears at this point, unless Walnut Grove pulls something off, that are going to be in the playoffs. So congratulations to them.
Yeah, first year in JISA, and they've really stepped up and played well. Looks like if they went out here, they could possibly finish second in their region, which if it works how I think it works, that should give them a home playoff game. So yeah, congrats to them. They've really had an outstanding season. People wondered how it would go when they moved up to GISA, and they've made the transition look easy, kind of like George Walton when they moved into GHSA. People thought, well, they're really going to struggle, and they just, took the GHSA by barnstorm. And same here, LCA's really done a great job, and congrats to them.
All right, Andre King, the head coach over there, with some really good kids and some really good athletes, so we'll be following them throughout the playoffs. Walnut Grove's going to be over at Eastside on Saturday night this week. Walnut Grove lost a tough one last week, but they're still alive. Yeah,
they're mathematically still alive, and I'll tell you, I sat down and tried to figure this thing out, and I got to break out my slide rule and computer. But they, the way this region is, you have the top three finishers on each side will play the following week to make it to the playoffs, and so Walnut Grove needs to break into the top three in their sub-region. Right now, they're tied right there for that third spot, but unfortunately, the way the tiebreakers are looking, it's going to be tough for them to get in. Now they beat Eastside. I think they've still got a chance. They need a few other things to happen with some other games, but yeah, they still have hope. But it's going to be tough, and against an Eastside team at Eastside, that's not a fun place to play. And Eastside's really good, so that's a tall order for them. But you never know. It's been they've done a lot of great things already. No matter what happens, it's been a great season for Walnut Grove, and hopefully they can win one more and somehow sneak into that third spot.
All right, that's going to wrap it up for this week. We'll see you next time for our last show of the 2014 high school football season. Have a good week, everybody.